Making sure this was working properly. 1 2 1 2. Right, I thought I would make a video in response to Ryan McGrath's MGTOW series. MGTOW, by the way, stands for Men Going Their Own Way, and he's taken it upon himself to proclaim himself a MGTOW solely on the basis that Tom Leykis is now adopting it as a shtick on his radio show. Basically, the radio show of Tom Leykis is a neoconservative affair. It panders to new republicanism, which is the infiltration of the old conservative right by these Jewish Frankfurt schoolists who came on over from the Soviet Union. Originally, the Jewish elite had its intellectual grounding in the, I guess you would call it the far eastern Occident, but then they had to move base to America because the nomenclature of Russia were beginning to realize, right, we no longer have a base of support here, and besides, we weren't really all that socialist to begin with. We just wanted to create a form of oligarchization for ourselves. We would be better moving to the west in order to attain these goals of ours. And certainly the Jews eventually found their inauguration in American society more lucrative after that period of about 10 years in which these Jewish intellectuals had made a transition over from the Soviet Union to the American conservative movement. They had gotten one of the Republican senators to declare successfully the end of all history, because they had brought the right and the left wings into a shoehorn, into harmony and accord, into unity, such that the left-right paradigm ceased existing in that juncture, and the left had successfully co-opted the right. Of course, this kosher nosa history is beyond Ryan's comprehension. I don't know why I bothered coming into this except to explain where Tom Leykis, who by the way is a Jew, had come from in terms of his intellectual descendancy. Now I'm going to move on to Ryan himself, Mr. Self-Proclaimed MGTOW. And to what extent does he actually mean to convey himself as MGTOW? Certainly, he's barely a man, and that he has none of the responsibilities therein. Pretty much content to live as any Robert Wayne Styles or Chris Chan in a perpetual stream of the empirical gutter of sensual media and medial entertainment that's simulated. That's a simulated experiential prison into an ideological world that actually is completely devoid thereof. So, when we speak of Ryan McGrath as a quote-unquote man, we're only speaking of him in the same capacity of that manliness as has been fulfilled by who are the other two that was mentioned? Chris Chan and Robert Wayne Styles. These two transvestitic low-functioning artists actually might possibly have something up on Ryan McGrath, in that they're forging out their own existences, albeit in a degenerative subculture. But Ryan hasn't actually been out of his house to speak of in months. This is a bit of an ad hominem attack, sure, but if it was the crux of my argument to him, then it would have been an ad hominem insult. Actually, this is none of such. It's not so key to my argument as it is so key to the summation of Ryan's character in assessing him, assessing his qualification and suitability to call himself a man. He's not. we've established this. I've established this in my blog post. And to say he's going his own way, well, he had no choice. He made mistakes himself for having made a voluntary gesture when he is actually involuntarily celibate by virtue of a social retardation, and I would contend borderline intellectual retardation. In this sense, he only went his own way insofar as his disability had naturally disenfranchised him, and so he's actually not going his own way. He's acting out the destiny of biological determination. So he is, by this line of reasoning at least, he is not McGrath. He is not an MRA either, because he doesn't so much advocate the rights of men as he does denigrate, and this is not the defense of women, by the way, but yes, he makes a point of personal responsibility as being exercised by women. Women cheating on men, younger women enticing older men who are already in relationships, and so on and so forth. He goes for the low fruit, the guttural stuff, because he can't approach anything else. It's required to be on the station. But with respect, at least, to how pertinent it is to his cause, if you like, his rallying call, none of it actually bears much in terms of ideological pertinence to movement, and this is the main crux of the flaw within his approach to the matter. Basically, all he's done is take these media stories, these agony articles, he's extrapolated them into his very limited prism of experience, which is mostly secondhand. You cannot speak sincerely of the nature of women and the nature of men and the nature of relationships when you've experienced none of that, because you remain perpetually a child. And you remain perpetually viewing the female through the childlike eyes. If you had been highly read in the philosophical discourses of the nature of sex and character, like Leininger, I would respect you more, but you've done nothing of the sort. This is not an intellectual inspection you are engaging in. This is a petty emotional friction that you feel an insatiable need to fume out like some kid in a temper tantrum. So for this reason, you do not deserve to call yourself a McGrath. In fact, you do not deserve to call yourself much of anything, except for some ideologically illiterate aspie retard who is speaking as though he were a precocious child, far beyond his realm of experience. And for this reason, nobody should actually take your little rambling seriously. Everybody should take the time to just smirk derisively and move on. It's what I do anyway. I hope you enjoyed this little discourse. Right, Ryan, I guess I'll be seeing you some other time, and actually I hope a response will be forthcoming from your end.